Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ayana. So as you can tell by the title, this is a story time of my labor and delivery. This is gonna be overall my birth experience and everything that I went through while in labor and even before labor. So I'm gonna hurry up and get right into the story time because I don't want this video to be too long. And yeah, so I'm just give a little backstory of this, right? So it was, I believe, like a week before. I think I even have the vlog up there. I went to Trader Joe's, right? I went to Trader Joe's to get some freshly cut pineapples. I got organic pineapples in the jar, as well as 4 bottles of pressed pineapple juice because I heard pineapples help induce your labor. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me get that so that can help. Also, I think that same week, I just probably didn't vlog it, I went to Target and I got 2 boxes of the raspberry leaf tea. Didn't use any of those, like didn't drink one tea bag. I just simply ate the pineapples, drank the pineapple juice. That was it. So I just wanted to say that because maybe this helped with me dilating and everything like that. So I'm gonna fast forward to Monday. I had a doctor's appointment. So of course I went to my appointment. Got called to the back. Once I got called to the back, the girl that was taking my vitals and everything, I guess she overheard me and my aunt talking. She's like, oh, what does your aunt want to know? She wants to know how many centimeters you're dilated. And I'm like, yes, she wants to know. But she said, oh, she called my, that doesn't even matter. Anyway, so, she asked, and I'm like, yeah, she wants to know. So then once she was done, like, checking my blood pressure and taking my weight, she assigned me to a room and she told me that I'll wait in there to get my ultrasound, and then once I come back from getting my ultrasound done, I will go back to the room and undress from the waist down and wait for the doctor. So I went in the room, I waited like 2 minutes, and then I got called into the other room to get my ultrasound done. Me and the lady were talking. She was just saying everything was okay with the baby. She told me his weight, and she also said, right, like she said, like that would be a great time for me to have the baby because his lungs are fully developed. And at that day I was 38 weeks and 5 days. So after I was finished with my ultrasound, I went back to the room and I did as I was told. I got undressed from the waist down. Right. So when my doctor came in her room, he's like, hey, what's up? So I'm like, hey. And then he's like, wait, why don't you have any clothes on? I'm like, what? I'm like, the girl out there told me to get undressed. I said I wanted to be laid on the table with her clothes on. But me and him was just laughing about it because he was confused. I was confused. We like, what? So then I said, oh, it's no problem, I can, because he told me, like, I wasn't going to check you this week. I was going to wait till next week. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll put my clothes back on. He was like, no, I'm going to check you because you're already undressed. So I might as well. So I'm like, okay. So he, ended up checking me, and he was like, oh, wow, you're about 4 centimeters. And I'm like, really? Mind you, I had no pains, no nothing. And the week before, it was this girl in there, and she was feeling pressure. She was saying she feel like she has to poop and everything, and I'm just like, oh, she's in labor. So then she ended up coming like from the back, and they told her, you're 3 centimeters. For me to be 3 centimeters, and I wasn't reacting the same way she was, so I'm just like, that's why I had no clue. I'm like, he gonna check me, I'm probably like 1 centimeter, or I'm probably not even dilated at all. And when he said I'm 3 to 4, I'm like, oh wow, really? I'm like, I don't have no cramp or anything. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to tell I don't have any pains. So then he asked if I want my membrane swept, and I'm like, oh, does that hurt? And he was like, it feels like this. So I'm like, just finish sweeping it because you already started, and I was already, like it wasn't painful, because when he checked my cervix, it wasn't painful, it was uncomfortable. When he saw my membrane, it wasn't painful, it was uncomfortable. And he told me bleeding was normal, and I'm gonna start cramping or whatever afterwards. So when I sat up, and I'm like, ooh, I know he said bleeding, I thought he meant like little spotting. I was like, I feel like my period had, like, it was the first day of my period, or like it was just like light bleeding, and I'm just like, is this normal too? He's like, yeah, it's fine. So I got dressed. I went into the bathroom after coming from the room. I'm like, let me put some tissue on my underwear because I could feel the blood coming down. And then I went to the lobby, and I told my aunt, my cousin, I'm like, he said I'm 3 to 4 centimeters. She was smiling big, like, yeah, I already know. The lady came out here and told me. And everybody in the lobby was like, congratulations, good luck. And I'm just like, oh, thank you guys. But in my head, I'm like, damn, everybody knows. So my aunt was like, she was saying, well, we're gonna go to Walmart, so you're gonna walk, so that way you can help, dilate even more and everything. And I'm just like, well, can I go home first and get in the shower, because I'm like, he just put my remembering, and I'm bleeding right now, and to me, I'm like, it reminds me like I just got on my period. And usually when I seriously just get on my period the first day, like say if I'm out or I'm at work or anywhere, anything like that, and I didn't, like, maybe I forgot that my period came on, or my period came like the day before or something like that. I'm like, well, I gotta get in the shower first. So that's what I do. So I told my aunt, I'm like, can I get in the shower first? She was like, yeah, we're gonna go home, we're gonna get in the shower, and then we're gonna go to Walmart, because I'm making dinner tonight, so you can walk around in Walmart while I shop, so that can help. So I went home. I got in the shower really quickly, and then we went to Walmart. Of course, I walked around and everything. I ended up like telling my sister, and I ended up telling my sisters or whatever, and I was like, y'all be prepared, because I probably could go into labor, but I was only playing because I'm like, maybe I'll just stay dilated for, I'll be like about 4 centimeters for a while, because you can just be stuck there and nothing can happen. So I was like, y'all just be on the lookout, because I'm like, it could be sometime this week that's coming up that I'm gonna have a baby. So I ended up telling them so they can be aware or whatever. But yeah, after we came back from Walmart, my aunt ended up cooking the dinner or whatever, and I kept telling like, can you hurry up, because I'm hungry, I don't want to mess with my appetite, blah blah blah. And she was like, yeah, dinner should be done by like, she said, I think 8:30. So then she told me when dinner was ready. I ate, and then I started getting a little tired. Like, I rested after I had my dinner, and then I ended up getting in the shower. And that was around like my time stamps probably not too accurate, but I was around probably like 9:30, 10ish that I got in the shower. Cause I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I said I'm gonna just get in the shower so I can lay down so I can go to sleep. And also, I'm like, in case I go into labor in the middle of the night, I already bathed. So that's why I also did that as well. But also, I was tired. I just wanted to go to sleep. So I ended up bathing or whatever. And then after I got the shower, my aunt was like, she was basically saying like, I think you should go to the hospital because you say you're not having any pains. You could probably be 5 centimeters right now and won't even know it. I'm like, no, girl, I'm fine. It's okay. I'm good. And she was like, no, I really think you should, because me and your aunt was already on the phone and we were talking about it, and I feel like, she's like, I feel like we both said like you should go because you just never know. I'm like, no, it's okay, I'm fine. And then I'm like, oh, I'm like, but then in my head I'm like, they're probably right, but I'm like, shit, I want to do my belly cast. So then I end up calling my sister, and I'm like, can we ever do the belly cast? I'm like, I want to do it because I'm like, I've been asking you, and it kept getting put off. Like, can we do it? I'm like, because I'm like, I never know if today may be the last day or tonight may be the last night for me to do it. So me and her ended up doing the belly cast, and then my aunt was like, she was basically saying like, you want to do the belly cast, but you should be going to the hospital. And I'm just like, okay, after I finish the belly cast, I promise you can go to the hospital. So we was doing the belly cast for about like maybe like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. We was doing the belly cast, and then I end up, after I was finished, I know I should have probably, did the belly cast first and then actually fully bathed. But, I was thinking like I'm going to go to sleep. But then I end up realizing after I got the shower, like, oh shit, I want to do this belly cast because I never know, like, I can go into labor in the middle of the night. Because I know usually people say when you get your membrane sweep, sometimes they go into labor the next day or even the same day or whatever. But I'm like, I never know. So let me just do the belly cast. So that's why I did it backwards. But anyways, so we ended up doing it. Once we finished, I went into the bathroom and I cleaned myself up all the residue or whatever. And then I told my mom, like, okay, auntie, let me just gather the last few things, and then for my hospital bag, for the hospital bag. And I'm like, and then we can go. She was like, okay. And then I told my man, like, I'm on my way to the hospital just to check. I'm like, to see if I am going to be admitted. I'm like, if not, then you don't have to come. But if so, And then, my sister, she already said she'll come and she'll go and pick you up and bring you to the hospital. So he was just like, I was having a hard time getting in contact with him because he was already asleep. But I was just letting him know, like, be on the lookout. So, we ended up going to the hospital. Ended up getting there, like, I think 12 something, if I'm not mistaken. Told you the time stamps, I'm not really sure about. It was like 12 something. We went to the ER. It was our first time to this hospital anyway. Because the hospital I was going to go to, that I wanted to go to, my OB didn't deliver it. So then I went to the hospital that he did deliver it, and that was our first time ever there. So I ended up going, we ended up going to the ER, but then we thought the parking there wasn't like the parking with the hospital for some reason. I don't know, it was just confusing. So we just ended up going to the main entrance and parking over there. And then we told the guy for security, like, I'm trying to be admitted to the hospital to see if I'm going into labor. And he was like, well, you have to go to the ER. We went to the ER, we couldn't find parking. He was like, no, there's parking over there. We was like, okay, we're confused. So then my aunt ended up just going to go get the car, and then she pulled up to the front. I got in. We went to the parking area that the guy at security told us, well, the security guard told us, and we went to that parking lot, got out. I left my bags in the car because I'm like, she's like, I'm gonna just leave it. You're gonna leave your bags in the car. We're gonna see what they say. If they admit you, then I'll bring your stuff up for you. So I'm like, okay, no problem. We went to the ER, and at that time I had to pee really, 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 really bad. And I'm just like, I want to hold my piss because I know when I get upstairs they're gonna ask me to pee in a cup. They just always do that. So I'm just like, but I can't hold it. So I went to the bathroom, and I waited. I feel like we waited in the emergency room for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, come on, it's almost like 12:30 at this time. Da, da, da. And I was just getting so impatient. But I had to give my insurance card, my ID and everything, and I had to wait. Like I said, they had to call upstairs and stuff like that. And then I finally got a band around my wrist, and then they put me in a chair, because when they said, okay, Ayana, like, you can go upstairs, I'm like, I'm gonna have to walk. And they was like, no, 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 you get in a wheelchair. I said, okay, because it would have took me forever to get to where we had to go, because I walk slow or whatever. And I was just like making jokes or whatever. So I got wheeled up to the labor and delivery part of the hospital. The girl told me, one of the nurses up there told me to get undressed, put on the gown, and also to pee. But I'm like, I just peed. I don't even have to pee. And she was like, it's okay, even if it's just a little drop, just pee for me in a cup. So I'm okay, no problem. Got undressed, put my clothes in that little bag they gave you. Then I went into the examination room, because, before you get admitted to actual labor delivery room, they put you in the examination room to see, like, if you're going into early labor or anything like that before they actually admit you. So I went into the room. I had my nurse for the night. She came in there, introduced herself. We spoke. She asked about my information and everything like that. And she was telling me, because I think I told her, my aunt told her that I was 3 to 4 centimeters. She's like, oh, you're not having any pains, you're really calm, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah. And she was letting me, she also asked me if I want the epidural. I said, I don't want it right now because I don't feel anything, but I just keep it on standby in case the contractions get too bad to where the point I can't take it. So just put it on standby. I'm not going to say no, although I didn't want to have any epidural, anything at all, but child, that changed. So, I ended up laying down or whatever, and we were just waiting. So my aunt was on the phone with my other aunts and my grandmas and everybody. Like, yeah, she's in the hospital. We're just gonna see what they say, if they're gonna admit her or not. And I was telling my man, like, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna see how many centimeters I am, and I'm gonna let you know if my sister is on her way to come get you, because they didn't tell me how many centimeters I was. The midwife ended up coming in. She said I was about a good 5 centimeters, and they were like, oh wow, really? You're so calm. You're not having any pains or anything like that? And I'm just like, no, I'm really not. Like, at all. I'm really not having any pains. I don't feel anything. I said I feel like they feel like period cramps, and it wasn't hurting to me. Like, I don't know. This feel like period cramps, but not like severe cramping. It just felt like light cramps. So I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I don't. It doesn't bother me none. She's like, okay, you're doing a good job, blah, blah, blah. But I was still breathing through it, so that way I can practice. And I was just telling myself, like, way before I went into labor, like, went to the hospital, anything like that. I just said, I'm going to breathe through it. I'm going to be relaxed. I'm going to go in there with a positive mindset so I can have a positive birth experience. And I just told myself that from, like, weeks on end. Maybe, I don't know, just like in my entire pregnancy, I just kept in my mind, like, I'm gonna have a great pregnancy, I'm gonna have great labor and delivery experience and everything like that. So that was already embedded in my head, like, mostly the entirety of my pregnancy. So I was telling the lady that, I didn't feel anything. I'm perfectly fine. So, once they said I was 5 centimeters, I got admitted. Okay, cool. So then I told my man, like, okay, my sister's gonna be on her way. You gotta hurry up and make sure you got everything ready with you, because we're gonna be in the hospital for like 2 days. So have all your stuff with you. They're admitting me, and yeah. So they end up taking me to another room. Well, before they took me to another room, the nurse from one of the nurses from the nurse station told me congratulations, and she was like, "Oh, you're 5 centimeters, and you're not like screaming, you're not panicking, you're not in pain." I'm like, "No, I don't feel anything." She's like, "That's really good." She like, "This your first baby?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "It's a boy." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, your son is gonna love you. He's gonna just be so in love with you." And she was just telling me congratulations, and she was just telling me stuff, and I was, while after the midwife told me I was 5 centimeters, and that was while I was waiting to get admitted to one of the rooms, well, get transferred to one of the rooms. So then, yeah, fast forward, I got assigned to my room. I went in there, so my aunt was like, "Okay, later I'm gonna go downstairs and get your bags and stuff. Right now, I'm not gonna get it right now because nothing's really happening." Um, it was about like, I think my man came like 1:30, 2 o'clock ish. He came, he ended up coming to the hospital. I had to go downstairs to go get him, and we just waited in the room. I finally went to sleep like they ended up falling asleep because nothing was happening to me really. I think I ended up dilating about 6 centimeters before I went to sleep, if I'm not mistaken. I honestly forgot, but I just know I didn't go to bed till like 6:30, and I slept for like 30 minutes. I woke up. I had a new nurse because the nurse on the night shift, she ended up leaving. So of course during the day, had a new nurse, and she came in. I believe she checked me. Yeah, I think she checked me when I woke up, and she told me I was 6 centimeters, and so we were just waiting. I think I was waiting. Waiting. So I think she came in like 7 something in the morning, checked me, told me I was about 6 centimeters, and then I believe at 8 o'clock, that's when my doctor came in. He ended up coming in the room, and he told me that he's gonna pop my water bag, and that my contractions, I'm gonna actually feel it. And they also gave me pitocin as well to help, I guess, me help the contractions come stronger, so to help the baby like be delivered faster as well. So they also gave me that too. So they were telling me like, once he was telling me, once my water bag has been broken, I'm gonna feel the contractions every time the water gushes out, and the contractions are gonna feel stronger. And also because they gave me pitocin to make the contractions stronger. So yeah, I end up dilated, I think like 7 centimeters, and it was still like bearable for me. It wasn't nothing crazy, and I think like, I don't even know. I know the water was gushing out, and I kept asking my nurse, "Can I get another towel?" And it just felt like I was pissing on myself. That shit just kept coming out, kept coming out. They ended up like lifting my bed up, so I was sitting up like this, and the water was just coming out, and that's when I started to feel the contractions. And I think around that time, I was 7 to 8 like centimeters, and they were asking like, do you, because they, after they popped my water back, they was right, the contractions was coming, but like I said, I was able to bear it. But then after a while, like, I ended up feeling it, and that's when I told you, they ended up putting the bed up for me, and I ended up sitting up like this, and then I was feeling it. Mom was like, "Do you want the epidural?" And that's what the nurse asked me too. She said, "Do you want the epidural?" Because I guess the anesthesiologist was coming around, and she was giving out like epidural to the women on the floor who needed it. And I'm just like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna have to take it. I think I have to take it," because I felt so much pressure in my back, and I felt so much cramping. I'm just like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna take it." And then she said, "Let me check you and just see how many centimeters you have. You dilated." She was like, "Yeah, you about a good 7 to 8." So she was like, I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna take it because I don't want to not take it and then I have to deal with all this pain." Oh, let me hurry up before he wakes up. So yeah, so then and I was like, "Oh, I feel like I gotta poop." Mom was like, "No, you don't have to poop, that's the baby." And the nurse was like, "No, she really does have to use the bathroom." So they was telling me like, I have to hurry up and use the bathroom because once I get the epidural, I cannot move. I have to lay on my back, and I gotta be still. And they're gonna insert a catheter inside me, so I can pee or whatever. So yeah, I end up pooping, and after I pooped, the contractions or whatever pain I was feeling, that shit went away. But I already told him I wanted the epidural, so it was too late. Like, I didn't want to say, "No, I don't want it no more." So I just ended up getting it. But after that, like, the contractions were feeling like really nothing. It was bearable for me. But I ended up getting an epidural, and the anesthesiologist asked me what I was having. It was my first pregnancy, and so I was having a boy. This is my first pregnancy or whatever, and she was just coaching me through and telling me how I have to sit up, I have to be still, what the sensation would feel like when going into my back and everything. And she also told me, like, girl, because she was like, wait, how many centimeters? I think the nurse ended up saying I was 8 centimeters. She was like, oh, you could have did it already. She's like, you're almost there. She's like, you could have just did without the epidural. I was like, yeah, I know, but I said, I don't know if the pain is gonna get any worse, so I'd rather just take it now than be sorry. She's like, no, I understand. She said, because I thought you were like 1 to 3 centimeters. I'm like, mm. So she was like, oh, okay, well, she said I was doing good thus far. But she was like, you could have did it without it. But I'm just like I said, rather safe than sorry. And she ended up leaving, and then I think I ended up dilating some more. I was at 9, and after a while, time was going on. Cause after I got the epidural, I think it was like maybe 10 o'clock, and then I know 12 o'clock came, 1 o'clock came. I believe 2 o'clock came, and I think the epidural wore off for me, if I'm not mistaken, because I started feeling those contractions, and they already said I was 9 centimeters. I was feeling like, at first I was just taking it, like the pain was hurting, but I was just like, ooh, I was just breathing through them. But I think like after an hour, I could not take it, started freaking out. I told my aunt, I'm like, go get the nurse, go get the doctor. I think he ready. I got pressure. I feel like I got to push. I was just freaking out. I'm like, I'm in so much pain. And my aunt was basically like, you don't feel the contractions. That's just you just feel the pressure. I'm like, no, I'm feeling something. So go get the doctor. I think I'm ready to push. I was just freaking out. And so the nurse came in, the midwife came in, and I believe my doctor came in. And I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it. I was panicking for like about 30 seconds to maybe no more than 2 minutes. And my midwife ended up calming me down. She was like, just relax, you have to breathe. And I'm just like, okay. She ended up calming me down. My doctor was like, I'm going to call the anesthesiologist in here again to give you more epidural. I'm like, okay, no problem. She gave me more epidural. I definitely calmed down by then. And then around almost 5 o'clock, my doctor ended up coming in. Prior to my doctor coming in, my aunt told me, I heard the doctor say that, nothing is happening, so they're going to give you, you're going to have to get a C-section. I was crying or whatever, because in my head, I'm like, I know once you get a C-section, they usually try to, any births after your first one, they try to keep giving you a C-section, and I didn't want that. So I was just crying, I was sad, and then my doctor ended up coming in almost 5 o'clock telling me, like, because the baby, since he was still sitting so far up, and they tried everything they could do, which they did. They had me lay on this side, they had me on this side, they just had me in different ways to like help push his head down, like make him come down, but he wasn't. And the doctor was like, he's sorry, but I gotta get a C-section. And he said he don't want me to get it, he wants me to push, but he said he thinks either I'm too small to have the baby and he can't fit, or either his head is stuck or something like that, so he wasn't coming down. And I was just crying, and they said they're gonna get the room ready. What happened? Excuse me. What happened? Okay. Is he faking? Is he waking up? Because sometimes he cry in his sleep, and then he sleeps, and then he'll cry and just go right back to sleep. Toma bobo. No quiere. Ah. Toma leche. Toma. Sorry, I gotta give him some milk. Okay. So yeah, then my doctor ended up coming and telling me that, but I already knew because my aunt told me, and then he told me I was crying while he was in the midst of telling me that too. And I'm just like, I really don't want, and in my head I'm just like, I really don't want it. He said, I know you probably don't want to, but he said, I don't even want you to have it, but have a C-section, but we tried everything and nothing is making the baby come down. So then he told me they was getting a room ready, and that I could only have either my man or my aunt could do it. My aunt said she'll do it because my man said he didn't want to be in the room when I got the C-section, because I was letting my man know, like, I'm sad I got to get the C-section and I don't want to get it done, he was like, I'm like, you sad? He was like, he was sad too, so, excuse me. Okay. My man said he was sad too or whatever, but he didn't want to be in the room when I got that done, so my aunt said she'll volunteer. So they took forever. Like, I took like almost 2 hours for me to get a room. Give me a second. What happened? What happened with you? What happened, Pookie? What happened, Pookie? I think, okay, I gotta hurry up because the battery is dying. He is too much. So, yeah, it took him almost 2 hours to get me a room, and, we ended up coming back though. The nurse ended up checking me because I was feeling pressure for about them 2 hours and all on my back though. And mom kept asking me, how you feel? I'm like, I'm okay. The whole time I'm feeling pressure. Like, I want to push. So when the nurse ended up coming back because they wanted to check me before they took me to the operating room, she said, oh, wait, I think his head came down. I think you could push. She called the doctor in. Give me a second. Yeah. Yeah. You do the other crying. I gotta hurry up. This damn battery is dying. Let me come this way. So, yeah, the doctor ended up checking me. He was like, oh yeah, you could try to push, but you know, if he doesn't come down or anything like that, we have the room ready for you. So he ended up letting me push, and I ended up pushing. And I think at like no more than 7 minutes, my baby came out. While I was pushing, I didn't feel anything because the epidural was still in effect. So I didn't feel anything while I was pushing. I just know I felt pressure, but that was about it. It didn't hurt anything. And I was pushing. At first, I was pushing like, huh, and I was breathing like I did that twice, and it was like, no, you can't take any breath. You just gotta hold your breath, like you gotta push without like letting any air out. So that's what I did. I did what I was instructed to do, and then I like felt they said his head's right there, so I pushed. And then once his head came out, I'm like, can I keep pushing? And they was like, yeah, go ahead, because they tried to tell me to rest and take a break, but I'm like, no, I feel like I can keep pushing. Then I think I felt his shoulders. I'm like, oh wow. I said, and they was like, I was like, can I keep pushing? Because I think they were trying to tell me to take a break, but I'm like, no, can I keep pushing? They was like, yeah, go ahead. And then one of the other doctors jumped on the table, and while I was pushing, and she was pushing on my stomach to help him come out, he ended up coming out, and they put him on my chest, and my beautiful baby boy was born. My little Pisces baby. But yeah, he was born 7 pounds, 2 ounces. So yeah, my baby, after being in labor for 18 hours, y'all, 18 hours. I know it was a long time because they usually say once you're 5 centimeters, after that, usually it goes by quick, and that's not what happened for me. I just know the doctor ended up saying his head was bigger than usual, and I had to get a little bit of stitching because he said he tore me just a little bit. But all was well after that. Everything else, I was perfectly fine. Overall, I had a great birth experience. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I just kept being positive, and I had my little freak out movement when I felt them contractions hitting after a while, but I ended up calming down, and also because epidural after they gave me also calmed me down even like way more. But overall, I had a great birth experience, and yeah, it was fine. And then after I got done pushing, the first thing I asked is, can I eat? Because I felt so hungry, weak, and I'm just like, like I have to put something on my stomach. So they allowed me. He said, yeah, you can eat whatever, just eat slow, because once the medication comes down, you're gonna like feel nauseous or whatever. And he was right, because I ended up drinking some orange juice, and I was drinking it slow, but I ended up vomiting, and I threw it up. But after that, I felt better. And yeah, you know, I just end up staying there for those 2 days, and you know, you do what you do in the hospital as far as like relaxing. They tell you how to treat yourself postpartum. And you know, you do the birth certificate and the social net. You do all. I mean, well, you do the application for the birth certificate, and they just tell you all about the aftermath of having a baby and everything like that. I was in the pain though. I can tell you that I was in pain, but I was able to deal with it because they gave me Motrin and Tylenol, but they gave me that Tylenol and that shit did not work. I was still in pain. And they kept asking me if I want pain medication. I'm like, no. They was like, oh wow, you really have a high pain tolerance. That's all I kept hearing. Is just like, that shit was not working for me. But all in all, like, my birth experience was lovely. It was great. I enjoyed it. So yeah, that's just that on that. Great birth experience. I just want you guys to be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, turn the post notification bell so you can be notified every time I post, so you're always, you know, on time and not behind. And yeah, I'll post more content. It can I could show you like a night routine that I have with the baby, or day in my life, or anything that includes the baby. But just stay tuned and post it for more videos, not just of myself, but you know, I'll include my baby in it as well, eventually. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye.